Valentina Trespalacios was born on December 16, 2001. She was a DJ and online personality from Colombia. John Nelson Poulos, a 35-year-old American, was her boyfriend at the time. John was formerly married to Ashley Poulos and they had lived in Texas. They had 3 children. Due to John's violent behavior, Ashley eventually filed for a restraining order against him. In 2021, the couple got a divorce. John met Valentina on a dating app around a year ago and intended to marry her. It appears that he planned to begin a new life in Colombia on January 21st, a Saturday. On the CCTV, John and Valentina could be seen together. Valentina worked as a DJ and the two were seen getting out of a taxi. John and Valentina could be seen walking toward a DJ booth for Valentina's gig at Nexus nightclub while she was holding his hand. Around 5 a.m., Valentina finished her shift of work. After that, she was seen leaving the nightclub owner's office as John was using the restroom. To get to John's apartment, they called another cab. He had reportedly just moved in a few days prior on Friday. John was seen loading a suitcase into his Volkswagen Voyage on January 22nd, Sunday. He drove to the south side of Bogota, dumped the suitcase in a dumpster next to a park, and then headed for the airport. His flight ticket purchases from Panama City to Sao Paulo, Brazil, and Istanbul, Turkey, where he would connect to a flight to Montenegro, where there is no extradition agreement with Colombia, appeared to be part of his overall strategy to elude capture. The suitcase that John had thrown away was discovered on Sunday afternoon by someone looking through a dumpster for recyclables. Valentina's head was sticking out from the top of her body inside. Valentina's cause of death was determined to be mechanical asphyxia or strangulation following an autopsy. He was quickly apprehended by Interpol and Panamanian immigration officers on Tuesday night at Tocumen International Airport. This was right before he was about to board his flight to Istanbul. John claimed to have fled to Panama because the Medellin cartel wanted to kill him when he was apprehended. He told the authorities that Valentina's murder was also a cartel crime. John's arrest warrant claims that he is the alleged perpetrator of Valentina Trespalacios' violent death, which was discovered in a blue suitcase inside a garbage container in the town of Fontaine. John is facing 4 counts: aggravated femicide, concealment, alteration, and destruction of evidence. Veronica Jimmies, a close friend of Valentina, spoke to the media about John's jealous nature. He appeared to be upset that Valentina refused to comply with his demands that she post about their relationship on her social media pages. She told him that the sole purpose of her social media was to advertise her DJ career. Laura Hidalgo, Valentina's mother, spoke to the media and said that John was envious and possessive. She also claimed that he had a private investigator follow her around. He was the one who killed my daughter, and he has no right to continue living his life as if nothing ever happened. Justice must be served. He didn't have to hurt her. On January 26th, John attended court. 5 hours were spent in the hearing. The court-appointed interpreter was having trouble properly translating because John's was not a native Spanish speaker, causing several interruptions to the proceedings. John claimed that his parents had hired a lawyer for him instead of accepting a public defender. In Panama, they refused to give me a lawyer. When I arrived at the airport, I requested to speak with the U.S. Embassy, which took a long time, he said during the hearing. Throughout the hearing, my defense attorney showed up only an hour before the hearing, which is not what a typical person would want in my circumstances. Because of the case's notoriety, he also complained to the judge that he didn't feel safe in the Bogota jail and demanded more security. On Friday, January 27th, he showed up in court once more, and this time we learned more about what might have happened the night of the murder. According to Daniel Gomez, the lead prosecutor chosen by the Attorney General's office, John killed Valentina after forcing her to have sex and repeatedly punching her body. Then, he began to encircle her neck with his hands, eventually killing her by strangulation. A cycle of psychological violence preceded the crime, which was represented in all the activity of jealousy and control over Valentina's social life. John killed her as the result of a jealousy process. Additionally, Daniel mentioned how John had hired a private investigator to follow Valentina. He claimed that the behavior, which took advantage of the victim's gender, must be viewed as violent because it compromised the victim's physical, moral, and psychological well-being. If John decided to go to trial, he could receive a sentence of 500 to 600 months if he were found guilty of murder. He could spend up to 48 months in prison for concealment, alteration, or destruction of evidence if he were found guilty of murder. However, the prosecution left open an offer that would reduce the sentence to 375 months if he accepted a guilty plea for femicide and a reduction of 24 months for the other charges. If the judge concurred, the terms of the agreement would have to be upheld, and John would not be permitted to withdraw. On January 30th, the city paper Bogota wrote about the challenges that have already arisen in this case's legal proceedings. The official translator we previously mentioned was pressured to resign due to her deficient use of the English language. John claims that Colombia's legal system is impeding his right to a fair trial. At this point, John's initial defense attorney resigned from the case due to frequent threats of death. John's inability to find a reliable defense lawyer for whatever reason, financial or due to his inability to find a bilingual attorney, is an unlikely circumstance. The judge emphasized that the state had provided his technical defense through the public defender's office. Just 72 hours before the murder, John flew into Bogota from Atlanta. To get to the apartment, he took a taxi. Valentina and John are already known to have visited the apartment and the club together. Sunday, January 22nd, John left the apartment that morning at 9:12 a.m. carrying 2 bags that were thought to be Valentina's. At 9:51 a.m., he pushed a shopping cart into the apartment while carrying a blue suitcase that was partially covered in a gray blanket. Given that Valentina's entire body did not fit inside the suitcase, it is thought that the gray blanket covered her head. The suitcase was wrapped in 2 strands of black duct tape before being dumped. Given the distance from the crime scene to where the body was found, the investigator emphasized that it is obvious that the disposal of the body was planned. The Valentina's phone is thought to have been thrown into a grassy field close to the airport by John. When looking for his missing car documents, a man discovered the Louis Vuitton and case cell phone. After comparing Valentina's opening screen profile with pictures he had seen in the media, the man turned the phone over to the police. A used roll of black duct tape from the same manufacturer and a Turkish Airlines boarding pass for Istanbul were discovered in John's luggage at the time of his arrest. 3 USB flash drives and an iPad. The rental agreement for the Volkswagen that John had rented when he first arrived in Colombia was for 3 days only. John only intended to spend 3 days in Colombia. Valentina's friend Maria Silvana Núñez revealed to the court that Valentina was in love with another man, but her relationship with John seemed normal. An investor in cryptocurrencies named Santiago Luna had regular WhatsApp conversations with Valentina and left her a final message on Saturday. Maria claims that John was referred to as the man of the magic on webcam. The Office of the Attorney General confirmed that John sent Valentina money every week and that on one occasion he discovered she had left for Aruba. Then Valentina asked John to send $1,000 via Duck MoneyGram to her friend Maria's account. If you like the video, please support my channel by giving it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, there are a lot of interesting things ahead of you.